Did Baylor just save their season?
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, how about that? Locked On Baylor postgame show. Bears overcome a 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Had it all the way and upset number 17 SMU in double overtime, 48-45. We were promised a shootout. We got a shootout, and what we got was an incredible Sawyer Robertson performance and plenty of other guys to highlight on the offensive side of the ball. An incredible comeback, and Baylor sits at 1-1. It looked like the season was circling the drain. I know they haven't played a Big 12 game yet, but at 0-2 and given up 38 plus in both games, it wasn't looking very good. A win can cure a lot of ills. We're going to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly in this one. Of course, I'm your host, Cam Stewart of ESPN Central Texas and the Cam Show on YouTube. I appreciate you guys making it your first listen today and every day, and even right after the game. My God, man. How about that? I was really not feeling good during this game, guys, and that will become apparent more and more in this post-game show. But I was not feeling great about Baylor in this game and throughout the rest of the season. But how about 1,060 total yards in this game? Sawyer Robertson, 34 for 50 for 440, 4 touchdowns, no picks. I have a feeling I'm not going to be hearing a lot of Sawyer slander this week. I'm not going to have a lot of other fans in my mentions saying, oh, is Sawyer really that good? Or is he just a merchant? Nope. Faced a top 20 defense from last year, a college football playoff team from last year, and cooked for 5.5 quarters. Absolutely lit them up. Are there problems with this run game? Yes. Is there a lot of problems with this defense? Of course there is. But Baylor comes back. Sawyer Robertson with the money on the table at the end of the fourth quarter drives him down the field to score the game-tying touchdown. I was saying to no one in particular at that time, and I can admit this now because they ended up winning, I said they should go for 2 here. I don't think they're going to stop SMU in a short yardage situation. I think it's much more likely that Baylor is going to screw something up on a 4th and 1 than it is for SMU to be stopped inside the 25. I was wrong. Dave Aranda played it correctly. That was something he played correctly in this game. But, man, Sawyer Robertson, Ashton Hawkins, 10 catches. Josh Cameron, though. As anybody who watches Locked On Baylor knows, after Drake left the show, it's just me, Baylor football's nothing without Cameron. You got to have Cameron in there. With no Cameron, there's no Baylor athletics. Josh Cameron, too. Man, what a day he had. 9 catches for 151 and 2 touchdowns. And now we go back and look at that touchdown he scored to make it 38-31. You know, it was a great play. And at the time, you're thinking, oh, that's good for the highlight tape, but nothing else. You know, they're still down a touchdown with whatever it was, 5-6 minutes left. And now you look back and say, wow, that was a 48-yard touchdown where he makes a great catch. He's brought down basically at the 5, and he just barrels through people into the end zone for a touchdown. And then Baylor actually does the thing. They make a defensive stop. The defense was still not good today, and I'll get into that in a second here. The defense was still not good today, but they were awful in the first half, and I got to give them some credit, man. They turned it on in the second half, right? Like, they really only gave up 1 scoring drive. But when they forced punts, they have a pick in the end zone after a just horrific call that, before anyone jumps on me, that would not have been the reason they lost the game, but that was objectively a horrible call that put SMU in prime position to put the game away. And these refs were dreadful in this game. I mean, dreadful Big 12 refs. I don't even know where I was going with that. But the defense made plays. They made plays. when they were called upon. They force a big-time punt when it's a 7-point game to keep them in the game. They commit a really dumb penalty. I think it was Devin Bobby on the unnecessary roughness that looked like it was going to set SMU up in field goal range, or at least they were one play away. They missed the field goal at the end of regulation. He misses a gimme in the second overtime, and wham, bam, Baylor Bears, 48-45. They're 1-1. Let's get into just real quick the bad, because I want to highlight the good. This defense still wasn't good. You know, it took till the third quarter for Kevin Jennings to have an incomplete pass. And I put out the tweet from Locked On Baylor at halftime. Like SMU was 11 yards a play. They were 24 yards a catch. They had 2 one-play touchdown drives for 75 yards, including the first play of the game that I have no idea how that wasn't a pick. Just no idea how that was not picked off. Instead, it's an SMU touchdown for Brinson, who had himself a day. 4 catches for 126 and 2 tuds. It was just not good, man. It really wasn't good. They made the plays in the second half that if you get that second half performance for a 4-quarter game, you're going to win more games than you lose. Like, that is a serious step in the right direction, I think, what it was in the second half. In fact, I think we could look that up here. I think I can do it with the StatCast, but I'm not the brightest knife in the chandelier, so this might take a minute. But I think they were so much better in the second half. Yeah, let's see what it was. Kept them under 200 total yards in the second half. It kept them at 33 yards in the third quarter. And there were finally some turnovers in the Baylor game. Technically, Baylor got one for a muffed punt, which is horrendous. Bryson Washington fumbled. Baylor forced a pick in the end zone. That true ball don't lie moment. Yeah, let's continue with the bad, with the officials. You got to take my word for this, I guess, because Baylor ended up winning. But even if they lost, they were not going to lose because of the officials. They were going to lose because of bad defense, bad third down play calling, inability to run the football. But these refs sucked, like straight up awful. And I think Baylor got most of the calls went against them, right? Like this egregiously bad blocking the back on what should have been a kick catch interference. And instead of Baylor finally makes a stop, it was, I think, their first punt they forced in the game. And instead of getting the ball, SMU gets the ball inside the 25. It was horrible. They missed a call earlier in the game that when Sawyer Robertson had given himself up, it was a bit of a late slide, and then he gets hit. And then that same play almost decides the game. Devin Bobby, it's still a dumb play, but it's way, way closer than what garners a flag in terms of what you called the first time. It was the same thing as the Sawyer Robertson hit. So if it's not a penalty in the first quarter, then it's not a penalty in the fourth quarter. It was just all around. It was really bad, man. It was really bad. There was a pass interference call that kept an SMU drive alive. That was phantom. But Baylor won this game. And they won it because of their offense, and they won it because of their quarterback, Sawyer Robertson, man, 440 through the air. He has got 839 yards passing through 2 games, and he's attempted to throw it 98 times. That's still too much. This running game needs to get better. They definitely wore down SMU a little bit in the second half. So Bryson Washington totes it 31 times, man. Bryson Washington and Caden Knighton both 3.7 a carry, which is not quite good enough for this offense. Not quite, although he still scored 48 points against the team that went to the college football playoff last year. But as I said all week, still don't know a ton about SMU. You know, this could be a down SMU team. They looked good today. Kevin Jennings still looked good, although a couple of underthrown balls ended up being big plays because of how Baylor played it. But that is a hell of a win. A hell of a win to go 1-1. And I do think it saves their season a little bit. The comments in here would have been a lot different if this just ends 38-31. You know, I mean, I think there's a lot of calling for Dave Aranda's job. And in fact, there's so many comments, just like last week, that I don't know how many I'll be able to get to, but I'm sure there's some of those comments in there right now. This hasn't exactly been a glowing 2 weeks for Dave Aranda. And Rhett Lashley was coaching circles around him for the first 3 quarters of this game, at least the first half of this game. But this Baylor defense, they did step up when they needed to. Was it perfect in the second half still? Nope. but they stepped up. They made some plays, man. You get a pick in the end zone. DJ Coleman gets a huge pass deflection in the end zone in overtime that forces the field goal attempt. 34 seconds almost wasn't enough. They still, you force them to a 57-yarder. That you'll take that, and that's why, because he missed it. But man, what a game. I'm trying to think of what I'm seeing in my notes that I haven't gotten to yet. I mean, I thought that game was dead and buried, man. I really did. After the Bryson Washington fumble and SMU goes in and scores 38-24 in the fourth quarter. I still thought it was dead after the Josh Cameron touchdown. I'll own up to it, man. The second Josh Cameron touchdown, that is. I didn't think they were going to be able to make the stop necessary to get the ball back with any kind of real shot to tie the football game. But anyway, they did it. They did it. Damn it. And at 1-1, you start to feel a lot better. We'll see how Arizona State does later today against Mississippi State. That's your next real game in 2 weeks. You got Samford next week, so you'll hopefully be over 500. But you still you haven't had a lead since 10 minutes into the first quarter of game one. So, yeah. One of the negatives in this game that my man TN Tovar 96 brings up here, missing Trigg and pass blocking and passing didn't hurt too much, but I bet it would have been welcome in the second half. Yeah, it was a big deal. Michael Trigg goes out hurt in the second half. It looked like he was pointing to his shoulder. Not a great sign for this team for how important he has been through the first game and a half. That's I like Matthew Klopfenstein, who's behind him, Klopfenstein. But that's a big drop off. That is a big drop off from Michael Trigg with the way that he's played so far. So yeah, 14 wins in a row against SMU. Ryan, no one's asking for the coach's job. Find a way to change your attitude and enjoy this win. Yeah, I didn't see any of that during the game. Nobody was saying that during the game. Nobody. Of course not, Ryan. It's me. I'm the problem. Yeah, Baylor's given up what? Only 83 points in 2 games, but that's my issue, isn't it? Yeah. Definitely there was a lot of that during the game. And look, if they go out and 2 weeks from now against Arizona State and they're 2-1 and they give up 40 points again, then we got to start asking some questions. And literally, here's one right here, Ryan. It's like 5 comments back. Good win, but time to move away from Aranda. Oh, wow. It's almost like I know this fan base, and I was with them too. Yeah, and a lot of Auburn fans in here. Thank you to the Auburn fans showing up. Because I know, look, every Baylor win, because I saw some during the game, by the way, on some of the old videos, Auburn fans commenting, "Oh, Baylor sucks so much." Most of you are rooting for Baylor. That's probably the way it should be. That will definitely make Auburn look better the more that Baylor wins. So, hey, we'll take that. They'll take that. Potential playoff team in SMU, it still is. Yeah. I think SMU is still a good team. That's why I think this is such an impressive win. I think Kevin Jennings is still a good quarterback, but he has been a little up and down. Like, again, Baylor bailed him out a couple of times in this game, for sure. For sure, they bailed him out a few times with some underthrown balls. But SMU will be competing in the ACC. Baylor had some injuries in this game. So did SMU, man. Their top receiver was out. Their best linebacker is out. So it's both teams were shorthanded. Jackie Marshall was suited up for this game. Didn't hear his name called. Didn't see him much if he played at all. Trigg was out. Carl Williams still out. Caden Jenkins not in this game. So yeah, some great comments coming in here. But I thought Baylor really showed something in the second half of that game, even a little bit defensively. I really did. And Ashton Hawkins, after having a slow game one, had a big time game two. Cole Wilson, after a big game one, kind of takes a step back in this game. He only had 2 catches, but this is what I'm talking about with Baylor's depth. Cole Wilson had a great week 1, and I think he's going to be a good player for this team, but I don't think anyone was thinking he's going to go for, 7-8 catches, 100 yards every week, and he's not going to. But then Ashton Hawkins gives you 145 on 10 catches. Then Josh Cameron gives you 151 on 9 catches for 2 touchdowns. Kobe Prentice, again, the man just likes scoring touchdowns. 4 catches, 2 of them for touchdowns in this game. And once again, let's see the quick math here. 7 different pass catchers in this one for Baylor. 7 different pass catchers. There's an innate amount of trust in that offense from Dave Aranda to Jake Spavital to Sawyer Robertson, and Sawyer Robertson to anybody that goes on the field with him. And that is going to be crucial going forward. I was a little critical of Spav during this game, man. I just don't think you can play for 4th down every single drive. Like every single drive, they had to do that. And I think it was their 2nd touchdown of the game was the first score they've had all season where they didn't need to convert a 4th down. Like that's just too much. And how many did they go for? They went for 6 today. And maybe 1 in the second half. Like that was the thing. It was all in the first half. 8 for 18 on 3rd down is but 21 unanswered at one point in the 4th quarter and into overtime. This was not just, hey, let's keep everything in front of us. Baylor's down 2 touchdowns. Let's let them throw it all over the yard as long as they're not doing it really quickly. This wasn't that. And I think there was some of that in the Auburn game. This was, hey, money's on the table. Your defense ain't very good. Your running game ain't very good. Sawyer, you got to take us to the promised land. And he did that, man. He did that. And, who would have thunk it, by the way? When you get the ball to Josh Cameron, good things happen. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy how that works? Man, I mean, it's just nuts. But that's what happens. That's why he was such a stud in this game. RJ Maryland, I think, is a big one to look at. I really thought RJ Maryland for SMU was going to be a big part of this game. 2 catches for 9 yards. That's it, man. 2 catches on 3 targets. The only other one was that one in the end zone in overtime, which was a poorly underthrown ball that DJ Coleman makes a play on. I thought he was going to be a matchup nightmare for Baylor. Was not the case. Was not the case. So, man, how about that? It was nice to get some breaks towards the end of it, right, guys? Like getting the missed field goals. This is a good point. Beating Rhett Lashley, kind of like beating Auburn. I'll take that. We're 1-1 against Auburn this year. Let's call it even. Let's call it even. Some comments from bunch of comments about how the defense wasn't good enough. So, but it's me again, Ryan. It's just I'm so negative, man. Nobody else is saying that this defense wasn't good. But as I will say for like the 10th time on this post game, they were very good in the second half. I thought, or at least good enough, man. Yeah, they get spotted a short field on one of them, so that's tough to kind of put on them. That was after the Bryson Washington fumble, but man. And Scotty B rightly points out 14 straight over SMU. 14 straight. Reagan was in office the last time SMU beat Baylor. The dude's not even alive anymore. He hasn't been alive for 20 years, man. You thought we were going to lose to SMU? Come on. We don't do that. We don't do that. When there's a level financial playing field, we don't lose to SMU. Which is awesome. I don't have any Trig news, by the way. Don't have any Trig news. And Ryan with a good comment here. That's a great point that I hadn't seen yet. First win by Baylor over a ranked team since 2021. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Ryan. That's a good point, man. I think they had 5 ranked wins that year. 5? That was a lot, man. Yeah, that's the point. Of course, I did think it was good they were going to lose to SMU during the game. That's the point, dude. Like, come on. Anyway, so Baylor gets the win. We survived the CW experience with that 30-minute infomercial as our pregame show. The 2 guys standing around and talking for 5 minutes. Brutal broadcast crew, which I like to bring up. Definitely. Just really bizarre calls. Sean says, in your opinion, being a Baylor fan, who was a tougher opponent, Auburn or SMU? Auburn was. Mainly because they won. But I think SMU left Baylor in the game a little bit when they could have put it away. Like Baylor didn't get any stops against Auburn. They got a couple in the second half. So yeah, I think Auburn was a tougher opponent. Yeah. I think they're both good teams. I think they're both top 20 teams from what we've seen so far. Like, genuinely. Well, SMU, I guess I got to, I guess it was East Texas A&M in their first week, so maybe they're not a top 20 team, but they were when Baylor beat them. And I saw one of the comments here that I can't highlight. Sorry, it's gone away. The one coming after One Tree Hill. I wish it was One Tree Hill, William. I love One Tree Hill. That was not what was showing on the CW. It was a jacuzzi paid programming. Anyway, what was I saying? I was going off about something. Oh, so one of the comments said, does this put Sawyer Robertson back somewhere in the Heisman discussion again, which I thought he was going to be in before the season? Kinda. Yeah. Kinda. Like, I mean, you've got to take into account, like, nobody's looking at any year. Are they looking at the Baylor quarterback in their top 5 or anything like that? Do I think he still considers that consideration? Does he deserve that consideration? Yeah, I think he's still a long shot. You know, if Baylor had lost this game, maybe it's a little bit different, but he was incredible in this game. And he did it a little bit with his legs too. We saw a couple of, I don't know, design runs, but maybe like second read runs. I still wish he could pull it back on some of these 4th and 1s that get blown up. I mean, how many times did we see that last year? We saw it again today. Great Sawyer Robertson day, man. Great Josh Cameron day. Great Colby Prentice and Ashton Hawkins day. Good enough from Bryson Washington. The fumble's costly, and I think that offensive line, there still leaves a lot to be desired. But yeah, Mitch brings up a good point that should be brought up every time we have a great game like this. Dave Aranda did not want to start Sawyer at first last year. That's correct. There's probably some new age college football politics in there, but that doesn't matter. They picked DeQuan Finn. That was a huge mistake. It might have cost them a game. Who knows? But Sawyer Robertson comes in pretty short order. And now Baylor is what Baylor is because of Sawyer Robertson, man. It's a good football player there. And you're going to hear a lot more about him this season. So anyway, guys, that just about does it here for the postgame show. Great win for Baylor. Another 400-yard performance from Sawyer Robertson, and clutch as holy heck in this one. 440 for 4 touchdowns and no picks in this one. Baylor overcomes a 14-point fourth quarter deficit, wins it in double overtime, knocks off the Ponies. I got to burp for the 14th straight time. And thank you to TN Tovar for congratulating me on the engagement. I appreciate that. 1 week engaged, and Baylor is 1-0 since I popped the question. 1-0. Let's just take that into account. Let the streak continue. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. How are you still feeling about Dave Aranda after this game? How are you feeling about Sawyer Robertson after this game? And did Baylor save their season with this? Was it going to be over at 0-2, and did they just save it? Let me know in the comments section below. Then be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is the #1 source for Baylor sports news throughout the week. It's the only one that's not coming directly from the university, and we are so proud of that. So do me a favor, since you took time out of your day today to come hang with me. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and we will see you on the next edition, which is Monday's episode of your favorite show. Thank you for making it your first listen today and every day. Locked On, the newly minted 1-1 Baylor Bears.